So what's good is we're talking about music right now.
Yeah, we're just talking about songs and cover versions and who the original artists were and all that.
Music makes everyone feel good. I would think there's always something that people love.
It brings people together. It's memories. When people hear an older song, they think back to a time, hopefully that was a happy time for them. And if it wasn't, they change the station or go to another song.
It is good to change the station because you can get really sad. I know. I'm speaking about myself.
Right.
If I hear a song that reminds me of my husband when he was alive and what we used to do, sometimes I can embrace that. And sometimes I have to turn it off.
And some people do embrace sad songs, like Elton John said, sad songs say so much.
Yes.
Or silly love songs by Paul McCartney and Wings, whatever though. But hey, in case you're just tuning in, by the way, I'm John. This is Joyce. It's What's Good with John and Joyce here. It's available in all streaming platforms. And our mission statement really is just to get you away from all the negativity out there. I mean, it's kind of, we're just hanging out here. It's like coffee talk or water cooler talk, but good stuff.
Yep, good stuff. Good stuff.
So what are we talking about today? Is it abundance?
It's abundance. It's always abundance day.
Oh, we could use that. I mean, I have a deck situation. You and I were talking about a deck situation.
Anyone know of someone to build a deck? But not from the scratch, though. I mean, I think the foundation is good on the deck. So
I'm not sure about the foundation of my deck, but... it needs some work.
Maybe we can get a 2-for-1er.
Right.
Yes.
Somebody know a good person, a good carpenter?
Get in touch with him.
Or her.
No, because people know where to find you usually.
Right.
But if you're listening from another country.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people, we do the inside talk here. But our guy Dave and Robert, who have been helping us here in Stefani, have been telling us that people are tuning in from Europe right now, and other continents as well. And it's like, wow, thank you. Whatever way, just share with us, share with your friends, and we appreciate you.
Yes. So attracting abundance has been something that has been near and dear to my heart.
You and me both, especially after looking at some of the bills coming in lately, and
yes,
we had tax day recently, and
Yes. Yeah. No. And I'm also thinking when I drove through Dunkin' Donuts yesterday and got myself a little cup of coffee.
Right.
And the price of that, I thought, okay, this is up like 100%, I think, since last year.
Are there tariffs on Dunkin' Donuts coffee? or you go to Starbucks and you get a $22 latte, right?
Right. You've got to laugh at this stuff. So you know what? If you have to cut back, cut back.
We made it through the past. We're here today.
Yes.
We're going to make it through this no matter what it may be.
100%. I remember my father had a gas station in New Haven, Connecticut, all my life. I think he started when he was 17 years old working there. So I remember gas shortages. I remember him talking about a lot of things.
Didn't they have the odd even thing back in the day?
I think so.
The late 70s.
Oh, yeah, your plates.
On your plates?
Right.
Like on an odd day, you can get your gas, and an even day, somebody else.
Right.
Was that like late 70s? I mean, you and I weren't even born then, but I read about it in history books.
I wish. But my father was great. He was very rebellious in that he didn't pay attention to those rules. In fact, when some things came under taxation in his gas station, he absorbed the cost. He would not pass it on to his customers.
Wow.
So
your dad was an amazing man.
He was an amazing man.
You can't think of too many people doing that nowadays.
He just felt like it was unfair.
Right.
And that's what he did. So we're talking about abundance. Yeah, I
why don't you show that book
there?
No,
because I wrote a book called Live Abundantly Now. So I should be talking. I should have had a deck situation in here.
Should be a picture of a deck in your book.
Look at the first thing I opened up to: Dunkin' Donuts drama.
Oh, jeez! Wow.
And that's you know what? That's a simple story of to show how being grateful and having appreciation for your life can make just good things happen. So I am running late to a meeting. I'm stuck in line at a Dunkin' Donuts that once you're in line, you can't get out.
Oh, you're looking in the back. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and you can't even go around because
Right.
it's a small alleyway, like to get through. So I'm stuck. I realize I'm not going to make it to this meeting. And I thought to myself, Joyce, practice what you preach. And by the way, there was a big truck in front of me, so I couldn't see how long the line went, but it was at a standstill. It's like something bad must have happened at that window,
Right.
and people weren't leaving. So I looked up, and I encourage anyone to do that if it feels like it's a heavy day, just like look up to the heavens. Sometimes I look up and I just say, I love you to all the people who have departed my life. Or I say, what a beautiful day, or whatever. So I looked up and it was this massive flock of birds.
Oh.
And they
A
were
flock of seagulls?
Yeah, of course you would think that.
Right,
yes.
right.
What is their hit song?
Iran and Space Age Love Song.
God, see.
And Wishing okay. 3 of them.
Let's play Stump John.
Yeah, right.
Yes. You can't. We can't stump John. But the birds are making these beautiful, figure eights. I mean, the pattern was just amazing. So I was looking up and smiling at it, thinking, wow, isn't it great that we have this nature out there? I have eyes to see this. Why am I complaining about that? And then finally I got up to the window and the man says, no charge. And I thought, I said, because something really bad happened. And he said, no, the man in front of you in the truck paid for you. And he was still there, kind of like stuck getting out. And he looked in his rearview mirror and I looked at him, and I went like this. And he went, and I knew I made his day. It wasn't that he just made my day. I just knew that he felt so good, about doing that. And the other thing I felt was, and this may seem a little too metaphysical for some people, but I felt that he felt my energy looking up and saw me smiling. And maybe he did the same thing. And maybe that matching energy said, I'm gonna buy this woman whatever she's gonna order.
Yeah, I'll buy that, no pun intended. But the vibrations, we're all vibrations.
Yeah,
you notice that when you walk into a room of people sometimes, and you can feel it if people have a negative mindset or there's tense. You feel it, right? You've been to some meetings like that. You walk in, and it's like you could just cut the tension with a knife.
Yes,
and it takes one person to kind of break that. Like, it takes one person to take an off switch and turn the light on. Right? Change everything.
Yes.
But we've all been there. But just one person who walks in with a big smile can put everybody at ease.
Yes.
Or just cuts a joke.
Oh, my God.
Or says something funny.
You just reminded me of something. There's one person that I have a meeting with that he usually only has meetings with me to tell me what he doesn't like. So
we all know that person.
So
that's not good.
So now that I know that,
mm-hmm.
When I have a meeting with him, and I promise you this works, I sit there, and while he's talking and complaining, I look at him and think, aren't you wonderful? You're just a marvelous person. You're so smart. You're so good looking. I'm not saying any of this, but he begins to calm down, and it always ends up well since I started doing that, because I was practicing the vibrations to see if I could send it over to someone. And and he told me not too long ago that there was a meeting that I was at with him, with someone else. And if it weren't for me, he would have walked out of that meeting. But he felt calm with me sitting there. So you can quietly do this. You don't even have to say, why are you so angry? Or, Trey, put a smile on your face. You don't have to say that. You can quietly send that energy out to someone.
I totally agree. I think people pick up on the energy when they're around. Just the body language, the eye contact, your facial. I mean, are you smiling at that person, making them feel good, or are you looking kind of judgmental or standoffish?
Right.
And a lot of times you can mirror the person's body language by what they're doing. If they're kind of like, you and I are kind of like this with each other, and then we just might lean into each other.
That's true.
Or whatever. But
it's those subtle things.
Subtle things. They go.
Yes.
They mean a lot.
Yeah. People who are, I know I had this talk with someone just the other day, and it was kind of a tough talk because I realized that halfway through, they are empaths. So there's a difference between empathetic towards someone and then being an empath where you absorb everything. Yes. So all the complaining and worries and woes that she had was because she cared about the people, but it's like she became their pain.
She was internalizing it all.
She became it. And then I let this go on for a while. And then I just said, can I stop you for a moment? I said, because I want to help you. And I can see what you're doing. And she said, but everyone, I should care. And I said, yes, but not to your detriment.
Yes.
So you can listen, but at some point, and I think I got through a little bit. And then finally I said to her, guess what I said to her? Hey, tell me something good.
Yeah, there you go. What's good with your life? I love it.
And she did this stutter step, like, and I said, no, tell me something good. Tell me something good about your life. Tell me something.
It seems like they're in a trance.
Yes.
And you broke that trance.
You said that. That's what it's like.
Trance. And we get caught in that trance, and it's so much easier for people to be negative.
And they don't realize they're on that train of negativity, that trance, that just, going one way until you abruptly derail it a little bit.
Kind of
in a good way. Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's like that caffeine in the morning.
Yeah. But the conversation ended up where she said, I am so glad I spoke with you today because you were just what I needed. It's like the angels sent you to me. But I think the angels, God, the universe sends people to us all the time. And it's up to us to pay attention. Pay attention.
I think that's a real key piece of advice. We need to be intent about what we do each and every day. Just keep our antenna up out there.
Right.
We're walking around for the messages out there because they're there all the time.
Yeah.
The universe, God, I call it God's talking to us all the time.
Yeah.
We just have to be listening. And we're too busy being busy, and we're not listening.
Right.
For guidance. Right.
And you talked about, the energy that we put out for manifesting. So, there's reasons why certain sayings exist, like the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. Or
same old. How's your day?
Yeah, or like it'd be like Murphy's Law.
Right.
I mean, so one thing goes wrong. Of course, don't live by Murphy's Law.
I was talking
who's Murphy?
I was talking to somebody before. You're right. Who's Murphy? Not Murphy Brown, right? No, but who's Murphy? And like this, oh man, it's been a tough day already, and things happen in threes. I'm expecting at least 2 more things.
No.
Said you're planting that seed of expecting things to go wrong, and they will because you're expecting it.
Right.
Change that thought. How about 3 good things that can happen today? Minimum.
You're so right about that because people have said, oh, well, 2 people died. Now I'm waiting for the 3rd one.
Right.
And even if they don't know the 3rd one and it's a celebrity, they'll say, oh, that's the 3rd one. And then I think I said to someone one day, I said, but everyone dies every day.
Right.
You could always find 3 people.
Exactly.
You don't go looking for it if it bothers you.
Yeah, but people they just feel it's a justification or something to their way of thinking. But I would rather err on the side of, what good things can happen today.
God, wait, so how about 3 good things happening? Why don't we say that?
That's good. But next time you have a conversation with somebody, what 3 good things happened to you today?
Because things comes in threes,
They do. So so we're going to change the whole paradigm. Nicely done. You should patent that, Joyce.
I'll patent that. Well, that'll be my next book.
That's right, your next book. That's right. But abundance really is a mindset. We're not just talking about financial, but abundance in health.
Yes.
Abundance in relationships.
Yes. Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Abundance, abundance in your fulfillment at your job, in your relationship with your kids, your spouse, your friends.
Yeah.
Just a joyful life.
It is a joyful life if you don't hold grudges.
Grudges are dangerous.
I think they're dams to your abundance. It's like building up a dam.
I think it's like putting up a shield, so to speak, from getting what you want from the universe.
Yes.
When you put up that shield, you're blocking it. There's only so much room in your container,
right?
Your human body, and to focus it with all that negativity, empty out that container and allow the positiveness to come and the vibes, the abundance.
Yeah, that's so true.
That we all really, I think deserve, quite frankly.
You reminded me of Dr. Wayne Dyer, that we both
love Dr. Dyer.
Love his writings, and in a presentation once he had a globe, sort of like a lighting that we have here, so like a round globe, and he said, I want to use this as an example. He said, this globe with this beautiful light, this represents the heavens, God, the universe, creator, and nothing but good and love exist here in this light. When you step out of this light into negativity, unforgiveness, holding grudges, all of that, you can't feel that because you put yourself off track.
Right.
That light is always there for you. And that was really impactful on me. And it took me back to when I was in grammar school and I was in Catholic school. And I remember raising my hand and a priest was giving a talk and I was 6 years old. And I said to him, and he said, yes. And I said, who is God? What is he? And his answer was, God is love.
Right.
And that stayed with me. Even through my rebellious years, I just remember that when Wayne Dyer was showing that physical example, I thought, to feel that good and to have that kind of, you talked about abundance of everything.
Right.
You have to stand in that light, but you can't stand in that light for a second and do a prayer and step back out and go, yeah, but I hate that person and I hate my job.
Right.
And I do that because now you just brought yourself out of it. But it doesn't mean that you're still not loved and protected and everything. You need to go back into the light.
Yeah, we have to kind of look inward first.
Yeah.
So many times things can change by the way we change. Too many times we say, I really wish my wife wouldn't do that, or I wish that person wouldn't do that. Well, what about us? Why don't we change the way we look at things inside? And by doing that, we can change the behavior of the other person.
Yes.
If we don't think we're being loved enough, we'll love that person more.
Yes.
Take the high road.
Right.
I think that's really important too. But looking inward, too many times people look outward. I wish I had more money. I wish I had more of this and this. But how about I wish I didn't hate so much?
Oh, yeah. Powerful.
I think that's really good. Or I wish I wasn't so judgmental.
Yes.
I want to have an abundance of love and care, not an abundance of hate and judgment. And as human beings, we're judgmental. But I try to find myself catching it. So if I do become judgmental about somebody I may not like or a behavior, I try to back off. Say, listen, I'm not perfect. I don't want people judging me.
Yes.
I make a lot of mistakes. So what's good about that person?
Right.
Find something good about that person that you like.
Sometimes I just need to stop and say, okay, somebody loves them. They have parents. They have, if things are really bad,
right. Yeah.
I'll bring it back there. But I think, I don't know, is it almost human nature, like to critique all the time? Because that's what you hear.
Right.
That's more the norm. almost like people connect with each other on the people TV shows they don't like, or TV shows they do like, but there's always kind of this critique going on. So that's something I work on is just not say anything.
Right.
And just go, like you said, go inward and thinking, why am I thinking this about this person?
I'm being a lot more proactive about that, Joyce, too. The thing is,
Yeah.
I want to be, that's something I know I need to work on. I think we all need as humans. I just don't want to be so judgmental. I find myself feeling almost, dirty inside if I'm feeling so negative about somebody.
Because you know why? Because you're so on track that it's so good that you feel that. Because when you do, that means it's showing you that, that doesn't feel good.
Right.
And you get back on track. With a lot of people, they never feel that. And they only feel good when they're commiserating with someone else about how bad things are. And, and being that, like I've said, I think many times before, between myself and my grandson and a lot of things, I'm at doctor's offices a lot. There's not a lot of happy people.
You hear a lot of negativity there.
Gosh.
So we can just by being there, that could be a blessing. That could be abundance right there of spreading the cheer. So
But if you can't, just excuse yourself.
leave the room.
Because I had to do that with my grandson a couple of weeks ago. The room was packed. But again, because I'm going through physical therapy with him, people there are in physical pain.
Right.
So when it started to become too much, I just said to him, why don't we stand out in the hallway? And we did.
Right.
We stood out in the hallway and then we spoke. And it was good. It calmed down because I didn't want him absorbing all of that. Yeah, so
the people are in pain. You understand they're going to look at things in a more negative way. You notice how, like, they always say, when you're looking at a problem, wait till the next day when you're fresh after a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
You ever come back and you've been had a challenging day, and then something happens, and you look at it, and it's like, it seems like the worst possible scenario. And the best thing they say to do is take a deep breath, put it aside if you can, get a good night's sleep, and look at it from a fresh set of eyes the next morning. And I'm finding myself getting better at that too, because then you don't find things welling up inside.
Yeah.
Better take a deep breath, respond and not react. Which is hard. Which is hard. But am I getting better? Yeah. I'm not where I used to be, but it's like a Tim McGraw song. I'm not where I used to am now, but I'm better than I used to be.
Yeah.
Each and every day. What are you better at each and every day?
Right.
What are you doing good instead of focusing on bad?
Right.
What improvement have you made over the past day? There's probably something.
Yeah. Even if you felt like you ate too much, okay, don't, attack yourself for that. Tomorrow's another day.
And a lot of people do that. I've been guilty of that too. You feel like you went off it, then you binge. I screwed it up. I went off the nutrition plan, the diet. I'm just going to eat like this. And then you feel tight. You feel terrible.
Yeah.
So just give yourself some grace.
Give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. This is from a guy who's done that. I beat myself up with that,
Yeah.
And just tomorrow's a brand new day to start again.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's an important lesson for everyone.
That abundant thinking, that positive thinking, that there's plenty of grace for you.
There is. And you can do that at any time. Abundance, I really feel like we're designed for abundance. And I think some people feel we're designed to suffer.
No, I can't understand that. I understand where people sometimes have their feelings about, God and the universe and that. But I just believe that your Father, your Heavenly Father, like your father, my dad didn't want me to suffer. He wanted to take care of me. He loved me. He wanted the best for me. And I think that's how he feels about us, even though some people might differ with that. Well, if you loved us so much, this wouldn't happen or this wouldn't happen. And I understand that thought that some people may have right now. They might be going through some pain and think, why is a loving God allowing this to happen per se? But my whole thing is, I know we live in a broken world right now without getting too deep, but many times if I don't understand it, Joyce, I'll put it in the I don't understand file in my brain.
Right.
That I'm not meant to understand that right now. But I'm still going to have empathy for someone who has doubts.
Yes.
And because I have doubts. I'm a believer, and I have my doubts every day.
I think all the apostles had doubts.
They had their doubts.
And they walked with him.
The disciples walked with him. They saw the good works he did, and they still doubted.
Right.
They still doubted. So cut yourself some slack if you doubt. It's okay.
You know something? We're going to have Father Ed Donnelly on the show, and we're going to ask him
Mr.
that
TikTok.
question. Yeah, he is Mr. TikTok.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He's
Love
in
that
his
guy.
early 90s, and he's just a fabulous person.
He is.
But there are things, I brought up some really tough things to him. And he'll answer any question with such honesty. And the one thing I love about him is that he loves God. He loves Jesus and Mary. Mm-hmm. And there are some, we'll talk to him about this, but I know there's some people who feel like, oh, the Catholics worship Mary. And he's like, no, we don't worship. It's God, it's that. But when Jesus changed the wine into water for his mother,
that was his first
it was
miracle.
his mother who asked him to do it.
That's
so
right.
Sometimes they use it as a petition. But the one thing I do want to ask him is about the suffering. But I think it means to turn your suffering into like a sacrifice to God. Like if it's something you can't get rid of, it's really like turn it over, which is really what we call surrendering, right?
Submitting.
Yes,
I'm doing my best. That's what I do each and every day. I try to submit more because I know that the more I try to do things in my own power, the more I fail.
Right.
The more I feel like when I submit and try to get out of my own way, things happen. Things happen.
Yes.
That's what's good. It happens in my life with that. But Mother Teresa, she doubted at times when she saw. I mean, she was in the lion's den.
She was in the trenches with these people.
And she doubted at times. If you read some of her journals, even she doubted.
Yeah.
So she was a woman of great faith. So
saintly.
Absolutely.
Saintly.
Yeah.
So before we close, I want to talk about that 5 minutes again.
Yes.
That I would love everyone to do. And it's something that I just love to do. So for just 5 minutes before you fall asleep at night, and in the morning too, forget about the money, your career, your fears, problems, pain. And during those 5 minutes, feel the feelings you most want to feel for the rest of your life. It might seem awkward at first, and that's okay. But if I could implore you to do anything, it would be this little 5-minute exercise. Nothing else that you might do will ever have such a profound effect on your fortunes, your friendships, your happiness. It's when you do this, because when your mind is feeling that you have already manifested it, what you desire, all that dread starts to go away. And when you do this for 5 minutes and you start out your day, end your day with that, you're going to see that things start showing up in your life. You're going to see and you're going to hear things, things that you weren't aware of that may have always been trying to reach you with these messages. But because what you focus on appears, right?
Absolutely right. And the thing is, the gratitude at the end of the day, what happened that was good? Who did you come across that day that really made you feel good or said something really nice? Or maybe you saw somebody who was really hurting or suffering. Maybe pray for that person. You may not know their name, but I'll say so many times, God, I saw that person who was having a hard time walking today. I don't know their name, but you do. And that's all that matters. So
that's it.
If each one of us does our part to go out there and do something good each and every day, whatever. Yeah. I just think that's going to take us, I think, spiritual bonds. Well, right. Generational curses they talk about sometimes could be broken.
Yes.
And the more spiritual bonds can actually bring us closer together.
Right. I don't want any generational curses.
No, we don't want those.
No.
But we've heard about those. I've read about those. That generational curse is being broken right now.
Yes.
Right now. But we appreciate you so much for tuning in to our podcast, What's Good. I'm John Cadillac Seville, Joyce Logan, my friend, and we appreciate you. You're part of our family as well. We wish nothing but the best for you and your family, and can't wait to see you through the lens. Next time you'll see us, and with this
Or
new
our
technology,
voices.
we can see you too.
YouTube. Watch us on YouTube.
That's right.
Subscribe. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.